Now, on this Coronation Day, the news on BBC One with Clive Myrie.
A very good afternoon to you from a wet Buckingham Palace on what has been a day of ancient ceremony and pageantry, alongside a few gentle nods to a more modern Britain, with the coronation of King Charles and Queen Camilla at Westminster Abbey. Now, the service lasted around 2 hours and it saw them crowned in a lavish ceremony, with the King saying at the very beginning, "I come not to be served, but to serve." The King and Queen are now back here, having appeared on the palace balcony just over there in the last half hour, with other members of the royal family, their coronation marked with a flypast by the RAF. Our royal correspondent Nicholas Witchell has this report on a momentous day.
London, the 6th of May, 2023, Coronation Day. In an abbey at Westminster, where these things have been done for nearly 1,000 years, a congregation to represent the Britain of today had come together with honoured guests from the wider world. The flags of the realms, the 14 other nations of which the British monarch is also head of state, were borne in procession. The weather, as predicted, left a lot to be desired. The King and the Queen Consort left Buckingham Palace in steady rain. At the Abbey, the King's family were taking their places. The Duke of Sussex making a brief visit to London without his wife, and the Duke of York making a brief appearance in public, wearing the robes of a Knight of the Garter. Dressed in his robes of state, the King entered the Abbey for his crowning to Hubert Parry's anthem, "I Was Glad." Laws.
I solemnly promise so to do.
There was a special composition from the Ascension Choir. And then the most sacred moments of the service. The anointing of the monarch, for which the King was divested of his robe and jacket and moved to the coronation chair, which had been screened from view, to be anointed with holy oil. The King knelt before the altar before being dressed in robes of gold to receive the coronation regalia. The orbs, sceptres and other items, some of which were presented by representatives of other faiths.
God save the King! God save the King!
The Prince of Wales pledged his loyalty.
God save the King! God save King Charles!
The family watched. Harry in the third row from the front.
I now invite those who wish to offer their support to do so.
The congregation in the abbey recited the homage of the people.
I swear that I will pay true allegiance to your majesty and to your heirs and successors according to law. So help me God.
And then the Queen was crowned, the culmination of the transformation of the former Camilla Parker Bowles. The coronation was over. King Charles and Queen Camilla made their way out of Westminster Abbey. Waiting in the rain, the Gold State coach and the parade of more than 4,000 members of the armed services which stepped off for Buckingham Palace. Prince George had rejoined his brother and sister after his page boy duties, the family making their way to the palace past the waiting crowds. And onto the palace balcony, for the first time as king, came Charles III with Queen Camilla. They were joined by the pages and the working members of the royal family. Through the clouds came the red arrows in a curtailed coronation flypast. Finally, on the balcony, it was just the king and queen. Nicholas Witchell, BBC News.
Well, many people camped out here for days. Others arrived at dawn to get the best view along the parade route of the royal procession through central London. And still, there are thousands of people behind me here sheltering beneath their brollies as this incessant rain continues to fall. My colleague Rita Chakrabarti is down on the Mall with some of those who've come here today. Rita.
Also sheltered under a brolly, Clive, but this hasn't dampened spirits here. I'm here with Sally and Millie, and you came last night, didn't you?
We did, all the way from Weymouth, yes. Came up and bought our tent and camped out overnight. Had a fantastic night, meeting lots of people.
And what's been the best bit, Millie?
Seeing the royal family on the balcony.
The balcony just behind us?
Yeah.
Was that special?
It was amazing, yeah. And seeing the royal coach was fantastic. Really, really lovely.
Some people watching this will think, are people a bit mad, enduring the rain, enduring the damp sogginess? What would you say to them?
It's been great. No, it's been really lovely just being here and experiencing it and making memories, making history. It's just been fantastic.
And you'll talk about this at school, won't you, Millie?
Probably, yes.
All right, Sally and Millie, thank you both very much indeed. A memorable day for two people here and all the thousands who've been with them. Clive.
Okay, Rita, thank you for that. Rita Chakrabarti there. Well, there have been some protests today, with the police saying they've arrested a number of people in central London. A few hundred anti-monarchy protesters in Trafalgar Square shouted, "Not my king," during the service. The group Republic says at least 6 demonstrators have been detained. Well, there have been celebrations right across the UK as people gathered to watch today's historic events. Our correspondent Danny Savage is in Ripon in North Yorkshire for us this afternoon. Danny, over to you.
Yeah, weather a bit better in the north today here, Clive, and this city, like so many other places, has some fantastic decorations for the coronation. The yarn bombers have been out, so they've been knitting these wonderful creations on the crown here and this cover on top of this postbox. Every bollard in this square has a crown on it as well. But the main event here in Ripon today was at the city's cathedral, where the bells were ringing for quite a while before the coronation started, with special peals ringing out across the city. And then about 200 or more people gathered in the cathedral to watch the coronation on big screens, young and old. And interesting, some young families were there as well, saying the reason they brought their children along is because if they sat at home, the children would play with their toys and others would just be distracted by other things. So they all sat there and paid attention to what was going on. For more than 2 hours, people watched the coronation inside this city's fantastic cathedral. As for now, though, this afternoon, people are here in the city. The main party is in the square here with fairground rides, with lots of people gathering here to continue the coronation celebrations, Clive.
Yeah, lots of parties going on everywhere. Okay, Danny, thank you. Danny Savage there in Ripon in North Yorkshire. Well, from the moment of his birth, of course, Charles' destiny led up to this day. The solemn anointing and fixing of the crown, symbols of kingship. Now he must carve his own place in history in this new Carolean age. That's it from us here at Buckingham Palace. The next news is on BBC One at 6:15. Until then, bye for now.